You know, I trim a lot of oak trees. There's a lot of oak trees in my area, and it's something that I've become recognized for. We are kind of recognized as being the oak tree experts in our area. And I really enjoy working in big oak trees. There's something very, very satisfying about working in a big tree and flying around. And so today's video is something a little bit different. We are working on some trees that have never been touched by any other tree climber. So I'm calling them virgin trees. I'm at a red light here. That's why my face is all red. That's not sunburn. So check it out. Like a virgin touched for the very first time. We got a virgin tree today that's never been pruned. It was a mess. There's a lot of dead and a lot of growth that had to come out, and weight reduction all the way around. But it's nice to get into a tree that doesn't have a lot of wounds from past tree guys. So we started the wounds today. I'm going to be talking about oak trees again. I know I use the oak trees a lot as examples, but they are quite valuable trees to my clients' properties, and we have some fairly significant oaks in our area. So this particular oak, interesting tree. It has, to my knowledge, I couldn't find any pruning wounds, but I do have some history with this tree. 15 years ago, the people that bought this property developed it and they put up a home. And this little tree right here is really interesting. When they removed the home, they had to replant three other trees because they took down 3 oaks for the home. And this little guy here it was a 36-inch box, as well as this one. There was 3 36-inch box trees, and they planted them, and the canopy surrounded them. I don't think they watered them either. But all 3 of the trees are still, one of them's dead. This one is a valley oak. It's still alive, but none of them thrived. And that's because they were in boxes. They were in 36-inch boxes, and the roots were all wrapped up, as well as, whatever kind of care they gave. Plus, the rest of the canopy overshadowed them. So these trees have grown immensely in the last 15 years. I mean, this tree is at least doubled what it was when I saw it 15 years ago. So we had some decisions to make on this virgin tree. One of them was this long limb here, which I did not want to take out, but it went all the way out over the driveway. And as it was sagging down, it was actually reaching a point where the trucks were hitting it and, making, not only damaging the branch, but also, it was kind of an obstruction for vehicles getting in here. So with a lot of thought, I made the decision, and I talked it over with the client, and I said, let's take that one limb. As you know, I don't like to take big limbs. Whenever possible, it's always best to leave the larger limbs alone. Now, a lot of guys, they'll just, indiscriminately, they'll just go in with a chainsaw and start wailing on big limbs all the way around. And those large wounds equate to a lot of long-term problems. Here, check this out. All right, so I want to talk about retaining the branch collar as much as you possibly can. And a lot of guys, they'll cut a branch too close. They'll cut what's known as a flush cut. So I'm going to show you what my cut is like. And you can see that I retained as much of the collar as I can. And I always tell the guys that the best cut is, the smallest diameter without leaving a large stub. And that enables the tree to encapsulate the wound. There's another cut that I made, and you can see that I retained, more of the, the collar on it. Now, here's another tree that somebody removed a limb, a while back, and I think that this one was done, fairly well because it was a little bit further out. I'm going to show you another one later on that, is completely rotted out because it was a flush cut. So as you can see, there's a lot of oak trees on this property. There was, I'm guessing there was probably 30 oak trees that, it was a fairly large property, and it went all the way down the hill. There was also some significant sycamores, as you saw in the beginning of the project. This is a really, really wide spreading tree, and it was just loaded with dead wood, just loaded. And interestingly, I've received comments before when I do some of these jobs about, people will say something like, "Oh, you're lion-tailing the tree." And as you can see on the ground there, that's all dead wood. That's all we did was take out the dead wood on this tree and end weight from the outsides where it was a problem. That was a view from up in the bucket. I did some outside work on this tree. I liked this job. We ended up shooting all the chips back around the base of the tree. Very important to know that you have to go rake back the chips if they pile up around the trunk of any tree. You don't want to bury the trunk, but the chips are really, really good. They're important. There was a structural defect that you can see. The two branches are growing so close together that there was some included bark, and the possibility of a future split is very real. There was also a catch basin right here that had water in it. I did get the blower out and clean it all the way up. I said I'd show you an example of an old flush cut, and because this was cut so close, the tree was not able to wall off, and decay became the primary problem on this tree. So this one bad cut is going to be the reason this tree declines. Done. That's my birthday. I am 70 years old today. 70 years? Where has the time gone? This year celebrates 50 years in business. I started my business in 1973. So somebody was asking me the other day, when are you going to retire, Blair? I don't know. I like work. Keeps me fit. It makes me feel good. Somebody also asked me not too long ago, at my age, what kind of advice would I give a young aspiring climber or a person that wants to get into this line of work? And I would say, keep at it, stay fit, use your head, don't do anything stupid, because it's the type of work that you get killed really easy, or at least hurt yourself really easy. And there's a lot of guys out there that have had bad accidents in this line of work, and it's stopped them. But I've been doing it now, like I said, 50 years, and knock on wood, I've never had a bad accident. Why? I think it's because I've got good spatial awareness. I'm always looking around me. I'm always paying attention. And I stop and I look at what I'm doing before I get started. And I think about it. If you just jump right in and get started and just start cutting and going for it, you don't see the hazards. You don't see the potential problems. You don't see the what ifs. And that's really, really important.